With the announcement of Black Ops 4 came a lot of hesitation. People were sick of the previous couple of Call of Duty iterations, and many people felt like Black Ops 4 could be the last nail in the coffin. In today's video, we'll discuss whether or not Black Ops 4 was a success, and if it was another generic COD game, or if it was something fresh, exciting, and new. So there's no campaign. Look, this is the main talking point whenever anyone mentions Black Ops 4. It's the fact that for the first time in COD history, there's just no campaign. There is a story, but it's done in like little voice lines, little tidbits, but it's not a campaign. Treyarch decided that they would rather do no campaign and focus on other aspects of the game overall, and this is a very odd decision. And for me, even a super simple campaign could have been better than nothing at all. I would take a bad campaign that still gives me 7 or 8 hours of single player gameplay in a Call of Duty game than no campaign at all. And it was very clear again that they removed the campaign to focus on the new Battle Royale hype, which is Blackout. Was this the correct decision though? So before we talk about Blackout, we have got to talk about multiplayer, the main aspect of this game, the big selling point. Because with the no campaign, yes, there's zombies, but the main other mode people played was multiplayer. So this needed to be special. And look, I've always preferred Treyarch games. Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 are my favourite Call of Duty games. That's not because other games aren't amazing, it's just because I prefer the way Treyarch games feel and their map flow. And I personally think they have just much better map design than any other COD game. So with that in mind, this game has so much to prove for me. And in some aspects it does. It proves all the haters wrong. But in others, well, let's explain. So the multiplayer experience has changed a few things. Firstly, modes have now been changed to 5v5 as opposed to the classic 6v6. Not every mode, but most of them. Now, what this says to me is not we're going more tactical, it's more of maybe the maps are quite small, which they are, we'll get onto that, but that's what it screams to me, that we're going 5v5 because we're going for very small maps as COD, which I'm fine with. Look, 6v6 is fun. It is incredibly fun, but smaller game modes make it kind of more tactical in aspects, but also more skill-based. You need to be higher skilled now in order to get more kills, as opposed to having an extra player on your team and theirs. That extra player could steal your kills or kill your enemies, so there is that aspect, I guess. The multiplayer also changes the health. The base health is now 150 as opposed to 100 in most other CODs. This does make the overall time to kill almost ridiculous at times, but somehow feels perfect at the same time. Like, it is a lot slower than usual, but again, it is really tailored to more experienced players, because it was so easy on previous Call of Duties to get shooting someone and their gun flinch up to your head and just one tap you. It didn't feel fair. Whereas now it feels like you need to be of a higher skill for a more prolonged amount of time. It's not just 1 or 2 shots anymore, it could be 9 or 10 shots needed. It sounds like a lot, but for me, this is probably the best time to kill I've had in a Call of Duty game. I think it is perfect. Everyone now also carries a stim, so no longer do you have a grenade on your R1 slot or whatever it would be binded to on the other systems, and a tactical on the L1. It's now a stim on your left bumper, left trigger, whatever you want to call it. This is interesting and annoying. So now you don't just automatically regen health. It doesn't work like that. If you get taken down to 100 health, the only way you're getting it back is if you use this stim. And for me, again, that is fine. It adds a bit more skill and it lets you get back into the combat so much quicker. You no longer have to get shot and sit in the corner for 7-8 seconds. Now you can get shot, stim up, get straight back out there, and I love that. I really do love that. And overall, these changes just feel like they're trying new things, and I'm so pleased that they are. They are trying and innovating in little ways at a time. They're not going mad. They're not going out of their way to change the entire feel of the game. They're just testing it and trying little bits here and there, and it worked for them. It really did. Now, the creator class is very similar as well, with a few minor changes from previous Call of Duties. So, you've still got the pick 10 system, that's almost a staple of COD Black Ops at this point. Now, with different sets of attachments for each weapon. So, some weapons can have the same attachment twice to sort of double up its effectiveness. For example, you might have an assault rifle with a grip attachment. Now you can get grip 2, which takes up naturally more of that pick 10 slot, but it can really benefit and really helps kind of change your weapons. Maybe you want this assault rifle to be a laser beam, and with that grip, that can really help. But then you're reducing the fact that you're not going to be able to put a new attachment on there, maybe an extended mag. So for me, up until this point, discluding the newest Modern Warfare, this was the best attachment system we had had. I thought it was pretty excellent. And the weapons just in general are a nice overall mix. You've got your fully auto assault rifles, your burst fire assault rifles, your long range and close range one. There's also a classic mix and match of COD weapons with only one or two feeling overpowered, these being probably the Titan and the ICR or whatever it may be called in this game. The balancing is pretty good, I'm not going to lie. You know, I never once came against someone that I thought, oh my god, they're at such an advantage because they've chose that and I haven't. Again, the Titan is a LMG and it does feel like you get one tapped in the head, even though you don't, but it's so easily counterable now that it's not a real issue. And when I say that there's the classic mix and match of COD weapons, that isn't a bad thing. They've kind of incorporated some classic feeling weapons. They haven't gone crazy with futuristic laser beams and stuff like that. They have just got, you know, your classic submachine gun that's really fast but inaccurate. They've got your submachine gun that is burst fire. They might have an assault rifle that's a burst fire and more accurate. Stuff like that, but it really works. And overall, the designs of the weapons are pretty decent. Not my favourite. I'm not going to say they are. Some of them do just kind of look like metallic blobs with, you know, a red dot on them, which is fine. But some of them are crazy designs. There's one weapon in particular that's like a skull around your weapon, the Stingray I believe it's called. I might not have footage of that, well, if you've seen footage, and I have, but it's such a cool weapon design, and so it almost lets it down a little bit when some of the weapons do look so stale and kind of weird and janky, but overall that's fine. I had no real issues with it. There are issues with the secondaries though. I've said good stuff mainly so far, but the secondaries are, well, terrible. There's just not enough. There's literally 3 pistols, 2 shotguns I believe, a rocket launcher and a knife. Now, I don't know how this made any real sense to a lot of people. I get that people don't rush in to use the pistols or to use the rocket launchers, but it was always nice to have that variation. If people want to go for the camos on them, they can. If they don't have to. They can use them just as a secondary. But for them to only include 3 pistols, a burst fire one, and, you know, 2 others that I can't remember because they're just that bad, is a bit weird. I would have liked to see a revolver. You know, it's always nice to see, let's say, a revolver in a game, a 3 or 4 round burst pistol, then a really fast firing semi-auto pistol, and maybe a full auto pistol. It's about the options that we like. Nothing more, nothing less. The fact that there is only 1 rocket launcher though, I physically didn't use it at all, apart from one game. Like, I thought that it was almost a joke when I opened it. I was like, 1 rocket launcher? Oh, maybe what I have to do is get to a certain level to unlock more. It's just not showing up for whatever reason. But no, it really is just 1 rocket launcher that does some shooting down of aircraft, some killing enemies, but after using it every one time, you won't want to go back because it's not a specialist in anything. And we look at, let's say, the newest Call of Duty game. We look at it and the rocket launchers go like this. So there's one that is essentially the javelin that you have to aim at an area, it locks on, it flies in the air, and then it smashes back down. If used properly, you can take down aircraft easily, or even soldiers. Then you've got the RPG that, yes, it can be used for aircraft, but you're not going to. It's mainly used for clearing a hard point. But then you've got some that are purely used for aircraft, and This is what I like. I like that variety, but this game removes that. Luckily, we still have the combat knife and eggs. If we took that out, oh well, these knives only wouldn't have had, anything. He wouldn't have had a job anymore, really. But it's nice to see, like I say, that they're at least trying to mix maybe rocket launchers into one. But even one other rocket launcher that was maybe a little bit more crazy and futuristic would have just added to the experience a little bit for me. It's also weird that special equipment, so grenades and stuff like that, now have a separate slot that isn't with the original, if that makes sense. Because they've sort of changed it around, now you've got your stim pack and all that, you have to pick specialist equipment, but these could be stuff like a grenade in your specialist equipment slot, but as you'll come to see from gameplay and just from seeing other people play, and even playing yourself, no one uses grenades. So, for me, the reason that is because they've put it in a special equipment slot. I think if they'd placed it in a normal lethal and tactical slot, and maybe given you the option of using it or a stim, yeah, barely anyone's going to use it, but it's an option, it's a choice, and again, that is what I'm going to really try and drill into people's heads. It's a choice, and that's what makes Call of Duty so great. But overall, I certainly didn't miss them. I didn't miss the grenade spam from other Call of Duties when you're on a hard point and 68 grenades come in at you and you just have no chance. So, I suppose that's an upside. Moving on from there, the score streaks are overall okay. The Hellstorm, or the equivalent, whatever it's called in this game, seems a little powerful, I'm not going to lie. It's a bit different from usual. It now shoots down and you can kind of fire it yourself, and it shoots mini missiles. I got a lot of quad feeds from that purely, but overall, all the score streaks are fine. You've got your UAVs, your counter UAVs. There was nothing that stood out to me as overpowered. Maybe like the Wraith can be in COD now, or even the Raps in Black Ops 3 always seemed like they came down. It was just like, alright, may as well just give up now. But I never really had anything like that. There was a sniper's nest, which was, as you could guess, a bunch of snipers in a plane, and if you poked your head out, you'd get instant headshot. But it's so easily counterable, you just don't go outside, and you'll live. So, there's that. Specialists make a return as well, so, mostly the Black Ops 3 ones, but with a couple of additions and reworks. So, for example, each specialist now has a ultimate ability and a secondary ability. If I remember correctly from Black Ops 3, it used to just be a specialist would have their primary weapon type thing, and boom. Actually, no, saying that, it was different in Black Ops 3. You could have your primary weapon, or you could choose your tactical. Yeah, that's how it worked, I remember. And this kind of merges the two, but weakens the tactical. Or the primary for tactical is powerful, which I like. This is a much better system. I loved the Black Ops 3 system. I think this one is the perfect specialist system. I'll give an example. So, Seraph, I believe it is, with the Annihilator. She has the Annihilator, which is a revolver, a one-shot revolver. She also has a tactical deploy beacon. So she can put this down and your team can choose to spawn on this wherever she's placed it. This can go for Prophet as well, I believe his name is, the dude with the electric gun. It's now been changed. It used to just be a one shot, you'd hit someone, they'd die instantly, and anyone else caught in the electric would also die. But now, it's a one shot and it knocks them down to their knees. Anyone else can still be attacked by it, but it now takes a second shot from either that same weapon or something in order to finish them. And then for his tactical, he has this, basically this roly boy. So you throw it down, it goes up to someone and it stuns them. And it's a lot less powerful than a lot of other Call of Duties, but that's fine. I think that's what's needed. I have my personal favourites, everyone does, but everything overall still feels balanced, which is what you want from something as crazy as a dude that pulls out a literal minigun that can two-hit people. You need it to feel balanced. And, yes, at times there was a rogue grenade from a war machine that bounced off 8 walls, flew over the moon and somehow landed directly on top of you and killed you in one shot. But it was so scarce and so unlikely to happen. But when it did happen, it was more of a, okay, that was a kind of funny, stupid little thing. But overall, again, I really liked it, and nothing stuck out like a sore thumb. Emotes do make a return though. And I'm going to keep this short, but they're cringe. They're really cringe. Like, now you can kind of equip emotes to do halfway through a game, and I saw it very rarely, but when I did see it, it did kind of hurt my insides to see someone dabbing after killing someone. It was a bit like, oh, I don't know about that, mate. But I suppose, I mean, I certainly saw it less than Black Ops 3, put it that way. Maps. Now, but maps for me is probably the bit that's going to take the longest, because they're a mixed bag, and that is a real shame. Even though they all flow exceptionally well, because they do. Not one map did I play did I feel like, oh my god, I don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing, which it did feel like that, and I'll come back to the newest Call of Duty again. In the newest Call of Duty, they tried to innovate and make the maps so open at times that I felt like I didn't know where to go. Whereas this is a complete opposite. You know where to go, you can see where to go with a 3-lane design. But some do feel stale, like really stale. And there's just no sniping maps either. And moving on from that, they've decided to incorporate 4 remastered maps, which is a third of the overall original maps without DLC. Now, this is crazy to me. This really is. Because they're so good at designing maps. So to rely on nostalgia is weird. It really is. Let me explain a bit more. So, something like Firing Range. Firing Range is in here, and it's probably one of the best maps. But Firing Range wasn't designed for the movement of this game, the specialists of this game, and so to just improve what it looks like and throw it in, it feels like a last-minute attempt at getting players to see, oh look, it's Firing Range, I need to buy that. Same can be said about Summit. Summit's in there. Summit's one of my all-time favourite maps, and it feels like it's just been tacked on in the end. I would have preferred for them to have maybe taken out 3 of the remastered maps, maybe keeping Summit and Nuketown as always is here, and made a couple more maps, because in this game they've showed they can do it. There's a lot of really, really good maps, and I'll be showing footage in the background of all my favourite maps as well. But it just never really felt, when I was getting on some maps, that it was good. You know, I would suddenly get to a map, and just because it has some rain coming down in this map variation, it was like, well, what's the point? And the worst map in this game being the flooded jungle version. So you got jungle off the classic Call of Duty maps, but there is a flooded version, which is these kind of weather system, but it makes half a map inaccessible unless you swim. It's bad. It's really bad, and I don't know why they had to do it. It was a bit of a shame, but it's there. I can't complain too much. I just wish, again, they would have maybe developed maps with a bit more variety. They flowed, but it was dull at times. The last thing I'm going to talk about is the black market though in multiplayer. It is trash. It is really trash. Stop with these loot crates, with these black market bullshit schemes, with these things where, oh, what am I going to get out of my free items in this box? Oh, look, it's free commons again. Why? I'll never understand why people spend money on it either, because it's so unlikely. It's like spending money on FIFA, but at least with FIFA, you know that everything that comes out of a pack is usable. But not on here, because, you know, no one's pulling out a common grey skin and being like, well, damn, I need to equip that right away. They're just not doing it. It was a real shame. The black market also gets leveled up through your battle pass. So there is a battle pass here. Not one skin have I seen that I've been like, wow, that is an amazing skin. It feels like a very Fortnite stolen battle pass. It's almost laid out the exact same. But again, we've got to a point now where a battle pass will be in every single game until, you know, until we all die and the earth blows up. It really will. Overall, however, the multiplayer has, well, it has all the aspects of a great COD experience. Maps, modes and weapons, with the exception of some iffy hit detection, the multiplayer is a great and, dare I say it, even a near perfect experience. I know it sounds like when I make these videos I talk a lot of crap about games, but that's because it's easier to talk crap about the small things than it is to praise the big things. And for me, the small things here are so minimal and so non-in-your-face most of the time that the only reason they're being mentioned is because I'm making a video. You get what I mean? So Overall, this is a solid 9 out of 10. This is one of the best multiplayer experiences I've had on a Call of Duty in a while. Better than Black Ops 3. For me, better than the most recent Call of Duty. Has less bullshit involved. It is just fun. It really is. So, zombies. This is both, for me, the best and worst zombies experience of all time. And that's going to be like, well, how can it be the best and the worst? Look, on one hand, the fact that you start with 3 maps, of these being Voyage of the Dead, 9 and Blood of the Dead, I believe it is, all of which being varied and unique in environments and themes, was pretty excellent. But on the other hand, the story and characters start off really cool, but from what I've watched, ended pretty poorly. Now, I haven't bought the DLC, because from what I've heard, the DLC in Zombies ends so badly and so abruptly that it wasn't worth it. I can't comment too much on that though. If you have bought the DLC and you loved it, obviously let me know. I'm sure my mind could be changed, but it's just a shame that I heard so many poor things about it. But the Zombies experience overall has massively changed before the game even starts now. So now you choose a starting weapon, perks and more. I wish there was more starting guns though. So you can pick a starting weapon, so a pistol or maybe a more powerful pistol, one of the starting assault rifles that are really weak but get you through the first 5 rounds. I just wish that maybe they included maybe all the previous starting guns to choose from the Black Ops series, you know. It would have been nice to have the revolver from Black Ops 3, you know, the exact one, not one that looks similar or a reimagining, just the exact one, and the M1911s as well, but the classic ones, not remastered, just exactly as they were, same and everything, just in HD now. That would have been nice. It would have been a nice little touch, and I would have personally felt so much cooler about it, because you use a pistol for the first couple of rounds and it's immediately the first thing you see when you come into Zombies, so it would have been a nice little touch. I do also wish that the perk system was a little bit different. So the perks are weird. They kind of go where you have to physically pick 4 perks now. You can't just walk around a map and choose which perks you want that are in the same spots. Now you have to beforehand pick the Odin, the Ra, the Zeus and something else perk. And these can be stuff like, you know, stamina up so you can run quicker and for longer. It might be other things, or it might be completely new perks, and some of them are cool, but it was really confusing, especially for my first 5 or 10 games. I kind of just left them as they were, and I kept thinking to myself, well, why can't I pick Juggernaut, or Juggernog, sorry, or something like that, Speed Cola? Well, we will talk about that in a minute. But like I say, overall, the perk system was a little strange. It did grow on me eventually, though. I also like that they have the levelling up like Black Ops 3 again, so if you use a certain gun enough, you'll level that gun up, then you can add attachments to that gun. It gives the Zombies players something more to grind towards, rather than just playing the same map over and over like you maybe would in Black Ops 1. Now you can play the same map over and over, but then also level up a certain weapon. It adds another little challenge, if you will. And they've also got tutorials, and this is probably the best thing about the whole Zombies. You can now get help to learn and understand the maps. I didn't need it personally because I like to figure out myself, but for new players that maybe haven't played a Zombies map, or players that just can't be bothered to have to go through that tedious first 10 games anymore, there's a tutorial. You can press on it, it'll show you how to get perks, it'll show you around the maps, because some of them are confusing as hell. I'm not going to lie, some of them make absolutely no sense, and this was really nice. And then moving into the maps, I'm going to kind of go over them in a little bit more detail each. So, Voyage of the Dead is an okay map. It's so confusing though. I played 10 games on this map, and after 10 games I had no idea where I was going still. Voyage of the Dead is basically Titanic. So, that in essence sounds absolutely wicked, but it's not. You start off on this boat, it's hit an iceberg, and you're in, I say, a starting room. You're in a starting area, which is on one side, the front side I believe, or it might be the back side, who knows, of the boat. You then go through a door, And after opening this door, it's like, alright, some corridors. It should be probably fairly simple. It looks like there's an open space, but they probably all lead to the same thing. So then you open another door, and it's like, right, okay, where's this door going? And you have no idea. You keep opening doors, and it feels like you open 500 doors before you find the back of the boat, and it looks identical to the front. It's so confusing. One of the most confusing zombies maps for me. It was almost too confusing. I didn't want to play it anymore, put it like that. I did not want to play it. It was a cool idea, but for me, it wasn't executed very well at all. Blood of the Dead, as well, is a decent enough remake of an old favourite, as we all know, but it just doesn't feel like the original. And I don't know why. I can't put my finger on it. Because they've had to sort of expand on some areas, the map now almost feels too big and too open and too crazy at times. But for most fans, it's going to be fine. You're going to see that old map remastered. It's going to be like, wow, it's a cool experience, I suppose. And then moving in to the best map in this entire Zombies is 9 or X1 if you want to give it its exact name in Roman numerals. But this is one of the best Zombies maps of all time. Like, no lie, the setting is perfect. You're basically in like this gladiatorial arena, and in this map there's cool challenges, there's a crowd system. It's simple, it flows, but it's also brimmed to the top with Easter eggs. I can't express how good it is. So you start up on this map, and you are just in this kind of circle. There's like 4 or 5 braziers in the middle that look like they can be lit somehow. You don't know how. And then it turns out you can knife down one of these banners and do challenges in Zombies. And then talking about the crowd approval system, if you do good and don't get hit and kill zombies and don't shoot the crowd, you will get a crowd appraisal with a big thumbs up. And this comes into play for the Easter eggs. And it also goes vice versa. If you decide to throw grenades into the crowd, they're going to hate you and they can throw stuff at you, which is such a cool little idea, and it fits into the Easter eggs really nicely. And the map just in whole, you open one door and you go down it, and it's like for example, Zeus's area, or maybe we'll say it's Greek mythology, for example. And it's like, right, okay, that's cool. Then you go to another area, and it's a completely different setting and mythology in a way, and it is so fucking cool. And the pack-a-punch as well is as easy as go to the 4 areas, bang your head on a big old gong, then a champion appears, which are basically mini bosses, which again, super cool. They're not difficult to take down, but they're unique gladiators that are throwing swords and stuff. You take them down, do that to all 4, put their head on a spike, and boom, you got pack-a-punch. And it sounds harder than it is, but I managed to pack-a-punch on my very first game on it. I had no idea what I was doing. I figured it out by like round 10. It was so fun. So fun, and this map is excellent. The characters aren't the most lovable. It's certainly not as good as Dempsey and all the classic lads, but it's fine enough and they're fun enough. But it's just the flow of this is so expertly done, and I've sat through and watched 6 or 7 hours of people just getting to high rounds or just doing Easter eggs or doing something, and I look at it and I think the map is deceptively simple. And then it turns out the Easter eggs have you doing silly things that not everyone wants to do, but it's there for the people that do want to do it. I honestly can't express, and I'll say this again, how good this is. The map is so good and so innovative that it puts literally 90% of other Zombies maps to shame throughout Call of Duty history. It is truly a phenomenal experience, and I would honestly say, if you're a Zombies player, okay, and if you're sat out there right now and for some reason you're watching this and you're watching this to decide whether or not you buy Call of Duty Black Ops 4, if you're a zombie player, you need to experience this map, without a doubt. I picked this game up off someone down the road for a £5. You get what I mean? You can find it on Facebook for 15-20 quid. Pick it up, play this map, then sell it. This map is beautiful. Blackout. So, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this Battle Royale mode. I don't think it's very good, and this is purely my own opinion. I know some people love it, but even though I'm in the minority here, I feel, but it just doesn't innovate nearly enough to stand out for me. You know, you think about it like this, Fortnite, people shit on that game, mainly because it's popular. Like, the game isn't actually bad. this is a thing, I don't know if anyone's ever thought about this. Fortnite is a great game, possibly the best Battle Royale game of all time. But people shit on it because it is so popular and people think it's for kids, but then they'll play Borderlands with the cartoony style and be like, well, this isn't for kids, this is funny and for grown-ups, you know. I'll be honest, I don't play Fortnite anymore, but I loved Fortnite when I did. And it has its building mechanics and its destruction mechanics that set it apart from other things. Then you go to Apex and it has its abilities. Each kind of character or legend you pick has its own special abilities, which makes team compositions an actual thing, you know, and so on and so forth. But this just doesn't feel like it innovates in any real ways. It doesn't have any real gimmicks like that for me. I did struggle a little bit with the loot as well. I found identifying what was a big struggle. You know, I'd be running around and I'd see a gun on the floor, but off initially just sort of looking at it and standing near it, I didn't know if it was a good gun or a bad gun. And I get that, again, I'll come back to Apex, because Apex is the closest in terms of attachments and arcadiness. I would say PUBG, but that's almost too realistic. But it's weird. Apex, you pick up a gun and you can obviously test the gun out. You can throw attachments on so quickly from your menu. This, though, it just feels janky. It feels kind of stale in a way. And I know that sounds really bad, but it does. And I never really knew if what I was picking up was an extended mag or if what I was picking up was something else. It didn't pop out enough. And Apex, again, is a lot more colourful, obviously, but you know that an extended mag, if it's grey, it's common. If it's, you know, purple or gold, whatever, it's rare, it's legendary. It didn't feel like this with Battle Royale on this game. It just felt almost like they tried to go so realistic with a game that isn't realistic. It's a weird mix. The map is cool though, I will be honest. The map has an absolute ton of old areas incorporated. You might be walking around and all of a sudden you found Nuketown in this map. And I tell you what, no other Battle Royale game could do that, that's for sure. But again, the overall loot system always hindered me. It felt like I was having to press about 1,000,000 buttons to get something that I wanted done. I wasn't easily able just to pull open an inventory and immediately use my cursor to scroll over, tap something, boom, done. It felt like there was always a little more I needed to do, and it was really annoying. And I can't really comment much more than that, because I only played maybe 2 dozen games, you know, maybe 30 games in total. I'm not great at it, you know, I'll be honest, I didn't maybe try as hard as other people, and so I'm not going to lay into this mode, you know, like a dick, right? But it just wasn't my thing. But I do know and I do appreciate that some people are absolutely die hard for this, and still to this day are streaming this game every day. So if you love this, that's great. I'm not making these videos trying to say that you can't like something. This is just my opinion. Circle collapse. I'm pleasantly surprised by this game. I'll be honest, I was very worried about this game after Black Ops 3, but overall it's not even a good game, it's a brilliant game. I was disappointed that they opted out of, you know, making a campaign in order to be able to spend clearly their resources on the Battle Royale mode. It happens as games evolve, as new trends come out, other companies are going to try and do it, but you know, for me, both the multiplayer and zombies were almost perfect in a lot of ways. And the Blackout mode, even though it's not my thing, I still found it enjoyable. I played 30 games, and even though it's frustrating, I didn't hate myself for playing it. It's just not, for me, the best Battle Royale. But I think this game is definitely worth picking up. I do wish they removed the Season Pass, though, because it is, I mean, it is shit. It is ludicrous, it is predatory, and even to this day, it's still going. If anyone out there picks up this game and thinks, I need that Season Pass to be able to play the you know, 5 remake in Zombies, don't give them your money in order to essentially con you out of it, for fuck's sake. You know, it is a really bad deal. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this surprisingly brilliant game. I hope you guys enjoyed. I put a lot of time into these videos. I love making them for you guys, so you know, maybe subscribe or like, or don't. You don't have to do that. No one's forcing you around here. Stay safe, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.